All right. Maybe let's have a bit of a look at
Hit the list.
the deck lists. Yeah. Let's
Who
get
do you want to
some
start with?
audio and video going on. I don't know. What do you want to start with?
I think Bert, seeing as he's actually in the game at the moment.
Bert's list.
Yeah.
Three guys, one cup.
Yep. Yep.
All right. I think I've got the password. Let's try this. Nope. What's going on? Okay. All right. Let's see. Let's have a look at what's on this deck list. Three guys, one cup. Uh, Joey, you're kind of the dragon expert here. How does
Oh
this
God.
one? How does this one feel to you?
Mm. Well, this seems a lot more monk heavy than a traditional dragon deck going into this cycle. But I feel like most dragon decks have moved towards that because some of the monk cards that were added were really good,
Oh,
like
monk
the
cards.
Hurricane Punches, the Void Fists,
Oh, Void Fist. I
the Hawk Tattoo's not really a monk card, but it is a monk card still, um, and the Mitsus as well. So that's come more standard, but this one's obviously gone a bit heavier than that, adding in some of the older stuff as well. The high kick, the mantras there, one of each. One centipede tattoo as well. Um, Trying to spot what he's cut to work out how he was able to afford all that, but probably it looks like Bonsai's took a hit there. Um, what else? Katanas.
yeah, I kind of like that high
Yeah.
kick as well. Actually, I feel like well, you have to bow your character, right? But sometimes there's just um, a great target for that kind of stuff.
Yeah, it can be really good. The biggest problem I ever had with high kick was the fact that it's during a military conflict. Um, there's so many times you want to use it during the um, political conflict if you can, if you could.
All right.
Um,
So much of his deck's running off one of, so to one assistant it is.
it
Yeah,
probably won't be consistent, but it'll be super toolboxy. Um,
itinerant
you're
philosopher is another interesting one.
Itinerant Philosopher, I actually love that one because that's very powerful in the Dragon Mirror.
It also makes sense when you're cutting Sumiko, who you might note is not in this deck.
Yep.
So you don't need the favor for any reason. Uh, but still running the palace to try and deny it from other people.
Yep.
There's actually a lot of good hits at the moment with Itinerant Philosopher being in such a heavy attachment meta.
Uh, yeah, I think that all of those are reasonably good points. I kind of like the centipede tattoo. I feel like that's. I actually feel like that's a nice card. It's not. It's not super competitive, but it is a good kind of one-off. What about? I'm gonna pronounce his name incorrectly. Unfalas. What about Unfalas's deck?
Well, the first thing I noticed is it's splashing crab, and it's not include. It didn't include any of the unleashing the Jinn, which I suppose makes sense when you start adding spreading the darkness. It might be just too much honor loss. But when you, from what I can tell, it is going wide, fairly wide. There's the battle maiden recruits, sneaky Sinjo. These are things that would allow you go to go relatively wide to trigger your stronghold more often.
And he's
But
running 2x rebuild and 3x yet to mitigate that honor loss.
the rebuild could also be for the encampments a little bit as well, because the encampment can be super important. It is a very powerful ability that you would like to keep around if you could. One thing I do notice is there's, I think, 9 Shudinja on the. Sorry, 6 Shudinja on the Dynasty side. and 3 on the conflict. So these 2 times Cloud the Mine, 2 times Force the River could be kind of hard to get down. So, oh no, wait, I was right the first time. 9. There's Shahai, Master of the Swiss Waves, and Mashido wielder.
Right. Yeah,
Um,
that's right. He's a Shigendra, isn't he?
Yeah, so 9 could be enough, but sometimes you do find you're unable to play it. But we'll see how it goes, I guess.
Looks like we're about ready to jump into this game. I kind of like the attachment heaviness of unicorn decks. I feel like that puts them in a good position against some of the more event control type decks like Phoenix and Crane and even Scorpion to some degree.
Well, another thing to note, there's only 5 conflict characters here, 2 of them being skirmishers, so he's not going to be getting a lot of surprise conflicts off.
Mm-hmm.
He can get 2 military conflicts and 3 military or political conflicts. So that could be important. He's got to really play the characters onto the board in the dynasty phase, which might hurt his ability to pass first, but we'll see how it goes.
Sure will. Okay, both players wishing each other the best of luck, deciding on what their mulligans are going to be. Have we chosen a first player? Looks like oh, here we go. Unfalas. There we go. I'll just have to practice that one, I think. Unfalas is in the unfavorable position of going first. Dirty Deeds, welcome back to the stream. Scouting out the competition, I see. What do you guys think these players are hoping for in terms of mulligans?
In terms of mulligans, I think Bert's probably looking for a... so Toreador is probably looking for the Swordsmiths. They're just super important in general. If not, maybe early investigator.
Mm-hmm.
Early investigator will let him really pull out some of these things, because I know it was just mentioned that there's a lot of one-ofs in Toreador's deck, but there is a lot of two-ofs and a couple one-ofs as well in Anphalus's deck. So if he could pull out, say, the Reprieve, that could be super big. And that could be something that they'll go for. Although, I would be wrong, or they didn't get any of the things that I'm talking about, except for the Swordsmith.
Sometimes
With
that's
Free
just
Fate.
how it rolls.
So, Free Fate Swordsmith, it's probably something to be said about that. He's
Well-
obviously
So
valuing the Swordsmith quite a bit.
Unless Bert has a Finger of Jade, this Swordsmith is vulnerable to assassinate.
Yeah.
He could have a Reprieve. He is running 3 of them.
Finger of Jade it is.
Yep.
I think Finger of Jade is fine for the Assassinate because you can only play 1 per round, even though Unfalas is running 2 of them. Scouting out for the resto. Sacred
Finding the
Sanctuary. Where is that? It must be in the row. Normally you see that on the box, don't you?
Not always.
No, it gets played in the row a lot.
It's normally Rally on the box.
It's a little bit of a shame, actually, if you kind of see it and break it early.
Well, he's put a seal of the dragon onto his Swordsmith, so no matter what happens, he's got a monk
Yep.
for the next up to 4 turns.
Mm-hmm.
Assuming no void rings, probably more realistically 2 or 3.
Yeah. I think the Finger of Jade on the Swordsmith is quite a strong deterrent for Unfalas because he could spend a bunch of actions trying to pull it off and then assassinate that character. But, the high cost of 3 honor just to play an assassinate and have it cancelled, a bit of a challenge.
Also, the Finger protects him from the Feast or Famine if he runs Space Burst into it.
Excellent point. Excellent point. No assassinates on.
Just covert it up so they can avoid the so he can't go into Sacred Sanctuary for free. So that's good. What do we got? Tattooed Wanderer, pass. So we're actually at the conflict now. Let's see what they end up doing.
Ring of Earth. What do you reckon? I feel like the Ring of Earth is the standard first ring of the game play.
They could go fire just to get that keeper out.
Mm-hmm. Possibility.
There's no like amazing targets, but
Yeah, almost certainly it's a military conflict, right? So you can take advantage of the encampment.
end of this skirmisher you just played.
Mm.
And the
Yeah.
stronghold.
And the stronghold.
So you definitely defend with the swordsmith, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not bowing at the end of this, so no reason not to.
Yep. So 5 versus 1.
Pretty big deal.
It's winning and
Probably
breaking, right?
Yeah, currently. Probably sacking the Wayfinder to get the stronghold off.
Hurricane
Seems to make
Punch
the most
number
sense.
1. It'd be really important, I think, to put a Mitsu in the bin this early in the game.
And that's
no
the
longer breaking.
box used.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Do you think Unicorn are in a position to do 2 military conflicts this turn?
With the encampment and the fact that this is a water ring going to bow down the Doom Shedinger, I think they could. You stand up your Moto Youth and go back in with Moto Youth and infantry for 4.
Mm-hmm.
Uchi
big
Wayfinder
set.
drops, and we see a Feast of Famine.
So
That's a big find.
yeah, it's really important information for Unfalas. Unfalas, though, is down at... Oh, both players actually are down at 0 fate.
I'd just like to point out that he has played 3 of his 5 conflict characters into this one conflict.
Wow.
And also spots out the resto, so
Oh, sorry,
all of
4
the
of
ancient
his 5.
provinces are revealed.
Yeah. And he doesn't even break the province. So he's just gone for a win.
Yep.
So
But yeah, there's only one conflict character left in Unfalas's deck. That,
skirmisher.
yeah, one skirmisher left. It could be a big deal. There's going to be no surprise conflicts this whole game on the Unicorn side. It's going to even be hard to magically steal or keep the favor if that ever comes up too.
It also makes it a little harder to trigger that Feast or Famine.
Yeah, he would probably have a hard time with that anyway, because there are 3 Pathfinder's Blade in the Dragon deck.
So Ring of
And
Water.
what, 1 on the board?
Currently looks like there are 2 attached at the moment.
Unfalas didn't use the
Oh, yep.
encampment, which is interesting.
I think he's probably going to use it before he attacks.
What's he going to bring back for a political attack?
He's got a military attack left. He just used the stronghold.
Right, of course. I was looking at those conflicts remaining and we're going, wait a second. I'm sure we just saw a conflict. How is it that we've both players have still got 2 conflicts?
Yeah, HMT. It's a little confusing sometimes.
I need to get more reps in. I need to play more games.
And Shiitome encampment straight into the Moto Youth.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he's going for the Motor Youth Infantry for his second attack and just giving up his third.
Give up the political conflict.
Yeah,
And that's upholding authority breaking without triggering.
Yep. Pathfinder's Blade, definitely a good card.
On the restricted list for a reason, mostly because
Yeah.
Dragon can play it.
well, Crab can play it now too.
So he pulls the fate off of the Taku infantry. Okay.
It is a big deal. Utaka infantry can get really huge, particularly if it's allowed to stay around for a turn or two.
Mm.
Just to um, they stack up really easily. Although I feel like this turn would have been the best if it'd been in that first conflict. He probably wouldn't have needed all these wayfinders, but he probably did. Like, how are you supposed to know that?
Yeah, that's
Oh,
true.
I suppose he can still get that political conflict in now that he's gone for the firing.
Yeah, you could just go for a little bit extra value, right? Maybe an Earth?
Yeah. But what does he attack? Hand size of 5. He could go. He knows what everything is at the moment, so. Resto? Resto losing one card. It's not the biggest deal.
And he goes Resto.
He
Yeah,
agrees.
Resto.
Mindfulus agrees.
Itaku infantry, you have to respect it when Force of the River is in the deck, because it can skyrocket really quickly.
Are those tokens unicorn tokens, are they?
Let me quickly check this. Cavalry in spirit traits. Doesn't say unicorn.
Alright, that's really kind of
My
interesting.
mistake.
So we see a reprieve played on the Doomed Shigenja. What do you guys think about that? This seems a little bit like a little bit of a low value target. Especially
It's
since
a-
there's one already in the row.
It's free in stats. Like, that's a decent amount of stats to keep around for next turn.
Fair, I suppose.
And it'll probably let Bert aggressively pass next turn, build up some fate.
Yep.
He also probably needs. He would realize he needs to stop breaks. Like, he's just lost 2 provinces there. So he needs to have it. If he wants to go offensive here, he has to have something there to try and stop the break on the 3rd province.
Yeah.
You really don't want to be on stronghold on turn 2.
Unflus is sporting charge as his restricted card. I feel like Shinjo Shono is a really good charge target at this point in the game.
Better if he's found his one reprieve, but
Hmm.
yeah, it's definitely a good option.
I think Bird passes here. I don't think you need the... Yeah, I don't think you need the other monk, because you already got monks to play your monk cards with.
He's got one monk.
He's got one
currently.
monk at this stage.
Yeah, one's enough though, right?
Especially when you've lost your Sacred Sentry already.
Mm.
Um,
Alright. Bid 5 all around. Refilling the hands. There's not too much discrepancy with regard to the hand size. I don't expect that we'll see much of a discrepancy through this game.
no
Last-
Resto off the board.
Last time we had a look at a game with Bert's deck, we didn't really see any of the mantras and things like that get played. So we'll see if they end up having some more value in this game. So we're in the draw phase action window. Bert passes, which I suppose is okay. He's not really at risk of any of his swordsmiths getting clouded. But I'm not sure why they haven't been used yet. Or have they been used in the dynasty phase?
He's using him now.
Right.
But yeah, I agree with you. Normally that draw phase action window, I'd normally use it for swordsmith just to knock that out before something comes up. But people forget a lot, and first start a conflict phase versus the draw phase, it's not really a big difference. When your opponent doesn't have a Shunninja and the I suppose that's the only thing really, because you can't assassinate until it's a conflict. Although he's only used one.
I find it interesting that Unfloss has only got one reprieve in the deck. For Toreador, the high priority targets have got to be your typical, right? Spyglass, Talisman, and reprieves.
Yeah, that the Force of the River can also be a big deal. If the whole thing's face down, all of a sudden it's a 4 military boost. I feel like it's scarier if you were running the Unleash the Djinn, which this deck isn't. But yeah, I think he probably will stick to the Reprieve Spyglass Talismans for his let goes. Although, what did he just let go? That was a Spyglass?
Spyglass,
cool.
yeah. I think if Spyglass comes up early, you probably should let it go, because otherwise Spyglass lets you draw into Talismans and what was it?
Yeah,
Talismans and
particularly-
reprieves and things.
Well, it'll let you draw into anything, all your answers you need. And it was on a Border Rider with one Fate that if you're not planning on assassinating that straight up, you have to let it go, because it's easily going to get both draws every turn until it leaves play.
Another thing with regard to the Unicorn deck is that it is really high on the fate cost. The conflict side fate cost. It's running.
Yeah, that is a lot. 23 cards that cost 1.
Yeah.
3 cards that cost 3, and 14 cards that cost 0.
Yeah. So I think, given he's only got one fate and he's not going to get any fate for this turn, because I feel like Toreador should go and grab it. That could be a bit of a challenge. He'll have, one thing to do, one or two.
I think that's a fair assessment. He has played a decent chunk of his 1-cost cards last turn. Like 5 of his 1-cost cards have been played, 2 of his 0-cost.
And we have a political battle at Feast or Famine.
What do you reckon? Do you let it break?
He's got targets.
But Toreador also has a Pathfinders.
Ah, yeah, and the Finger of Jade as well, if you wanted to use that instead. Probably use whichever one's more easily replaceable.
So the Keeper was coverted, so Unfluss is going to really have to commit here if he wants to save it. I just let it go.
Jade Masterpiece.
Gotta get that 1 strength.
I don't know, like, I think
I
that's
feel
what
like-
it's for. It's just for a force pump, but
He should have used it first to steal the Fate.
this isn't really a big commitment on Unfloss's part. He can just straighten, I think he's trying to draw cards out of Bert's hand, out of Toreador's hand. He's just kind of trading cards here. Maybe he's got another Spyglass in hand, so he can drop his bids next turn and still maintain a bit of an advantage there.
Also, that court games on the Border Rider that's just going to stand.
Yeah,
Like,
it's
that
good,
could
right?
be
3/4
part of
Border
this.
Rider's fine. If you think about it, that court games is actually worth its value in more than one conflict. So sometimes if you play court games on a 1 glory character, it doesn't really feel like you're getting a lot. But if that character participates in more than one conflict, then you can get two glory worth out of the card, which seems better.
So Shinjo Shono's gone. Bert may have gone political early there to get rid of the Shinjo Shono so she couldn't be charged in later.
Hmm.
Kind of surprised at
I think
the
that's probably
bowing
right.
of the Moto Youth. Um, there's not that many cards, particularly once you've got rid of the Shinjo Shono, that give force boosts to cavalry. So the Keeper Initiate probably could have been better, just
Well-
because it's a. Oh, I suppose it would have been a 4 military strength. Maybe that's what he's worried about.
5 with the favor.
4 by itself, though. So
Yep, agreed.
because I'm like, if there's a military conflict out of a unicorn deck with this stronghold, it's probably going to have more than one character, just so that you can maybe trigger the stronghold.
For sure. Shameful display. Going for the big defense. Toridori is going for the big defense.
Making sure that stronghold doesn't get triggered.
I've often noticed this actually with Toridori. I feel like he defends his second last province a lot, like very heavily. Do you guys find that? Like, is that something you do?
I don't defend any of my provinces that heavily. That's why I keep losing.
Yeah. With all of the feel bad break provinces, it's definitely a tactic. Is that an assassinate? It is. Gosh, the
It
swordsmiths
makes
just love eating assassinates, don't they?
To be fair, they deserve it.
Yeah. Oh, strength in darkness.
Spreading
Oh.
the darkness.
Oh yes, I'm mixing my cards up. Strength of my ancestors in the darkness. That sounds like the next Harry Potter novel or something, right? Doesn't it?
Definitely.
So Toridori is just querying at the moment which of the two border riders has STDs.
It's the one with Fate. Maybe that's why it's dishonored.
I suppose. Yeah. I'm not sure. It matters which one it would have been played on. I mean, it matters for targeting, obviously, but as far as like making it the most efficient play possible, you play it on the one without, with that's honored or the one that's dishonored. I don't know how much of a difference it makes. All right. So Tattooed Wanderer. So I expect that's a monk. I expect we'll see some cards, some monk cards in the conflict now.
Are we in Void Fist territory yet? I think we're one card short still.
Yeah, I don't think we are. Yeah, I think we might see a Hurricane Punch, and then you could possibly Void Punch the Border Rider.
Is it high kick time?
Well, this spread darkness spreading, the STD'd Border Rider can't be targeted by any of that. It's unfortunate. Actually, that's a good point, right? So spreading the darkness costs you 2 honor, which means that playing Unleash the Djinn is also a bit, dubious.
I honestly, I think that's the only reason he wouldn't be running Unleash the Djinn.
Yeah.
I think if he didn't have Spreading the Darkness, it is a very strong card.
Mm-hmm.
It is often very well worth the 3 honor,
Mm-hmm.
because if you're up by like 1 or 2 characters, which you want to be with your stronghold,
Mm-hmm.
it's almost a guaranteed break, unless they've got some way to bring someone in later. Because of how strong the set effect is.
And Force of the River and Unleash the Djinn is just such an oppressive combo.
It's pretty nice. I think if you look at a lot of the unicorn decks that are in the cup, the World Cup, a lot of them are running that, and this is probably one of the few that's not running Dragon Splash, as well.
I'm sure we all know the Dragon Splash is good with those hawk tattoos. Right, everyone seems to be splashing that.
Mm-hmm. All right. So he does manage to save that province, which definitely what Toridori wanted. Although I think we are going to come back with a another conflict and just sweep away the shameful display. Now that
And trigger the fire ring.
right. Again, have we got more keepers? No.
Oh, sorry, Bert's coverted the Keeper Initiate, and he's swinging in for the fire ring now. Probably to dishonor the Keeper Initiate, so it can't threaten that shameful.
Mm-hmm.
Except he hit a pilgrimage. So that's off the board.
That is somewhat unfortunate. We didn't really talk about the province, Roy, did we?
No, I don't think we did. The looking at this, the unicorn fertile fields. I normally would have expected, particularly with such a heavy investment into the conflict deck, I would have expected him to keep garden.
You know what else is kind of
And
you know what's kind of cool actually is the endless plains. I know you have to break the province for it to be effective, but actually,
you'd be surprised how often Endless Plains comes up,
yeah,
even when they know it's there.
yeah, endless plains in these formats where you get to look at each other's deck lists. I don't know. Yeah, it's a challenging province for me because on the one hand,
Yeah.
if it breaks because you used its ability, that's a win, right? And then if it
Yeah.
doesn't, it's only 2 strength, so you can break it really easily.
Well, I'm pretty sure this attack that was just the swordsmith at the start of this turn that went into the Feast or Famine,
Mm.
I'm fairly certain that was unscouted, from what I can remember. So if
feast?
that had been
Oh,
the
yeah.
Endless Plains, that would have been a big deal because I don't think that targets. Oh no, it's a card effect, so you could Finger of Jade.
Yeah, you can finger jade that. But then assassinate is online unless you got another finger. Aesthetic visionary.
Your opponent chooses an attacking character. It doesn't target. So I think it would get through Finger of Jade, same
Yeah.
way in court games does.
I thought it did. I think that because the word choose is in there, that's a target. Could be wrong. Maybe the chat can tell us. All right.
So Anfalas played a rebuild there and rebuilt the Shiatomi encampment onto the pilgrimage.
I think that's a big deal. If that's going to allow some of these bigger characters, not that there is a whole lot right now, but Cav reserves could be super effective here. You bring in a Cav reserves, trigger the strongholds, straighten them, come back in for another military conflict. Especially with Shono. There's another keeper as well.
So Anfalas choosing to bid 3 there, passing over card advantage to Toridori.
But gaining the honor advantage.
He might be holding another Spreading the Darkness. There's only 2 in the deck, but still.
Yeah, if he's found it, that would be a good play here.
Yeah, and
he's kept a lot of fade up. He could be going for like charge Spreading the Darkness.
Mm-hmm.
Try and go for the win.
So rally, going for water. I think, sorry, political rather. I think that's good, right? Because if you guess that it's going to be rally,
I think you've got a fair idea. It's rally,
Yeah.
considering you've seen his deck list.
yeah, and you've got
Also, the spyglass is on the table on the border rider,
Mhm.
so could see a few cards out of that before it goes away.
Actually, didn't he see the shameful display with the Wayfinder on turn 1?
Shameful display.
Oh no,
he
sorry,
saw
not
Sacred
shameful.
Sanctuary. He saw everything but shameful.
Right. So he knows that that's Feast or Famine.
Yes.
Regardless, it was never going to be Feast or Famine on the box.
No, no, that'd be just a little
Not
bit
the best
silly.
value there.
Yeah. No. So, as Morel says, finger stops feast or famine, and it doesn't block court games. But the question I think was, does it block
Whether it stops endless planes.
endless planes? Yep, I think it does. I'm pretty sure. All right. So Bert really needs to get something done here at the same time as being able to successfully defend a second attack against his stronghold. What is Bert's line of play? Bert, for everyone listening, is Toridori. Yeah, dirty deeds. Endless planes on the box. You didn't win. I lost. I chose to lose.
There was a brief moment there where that wasn't the case, and the
Yeah.
game just stalled out. I think that was
Yeah.
the first
Yeah,
RRG
yeah.
revision.
Yeah, that's right. Some weird loophole. Okay. So Unflask readying his border rider.
Makes sense. That's what it's there for.
Bert
Ooh, and here comes the
Oh,
skirmisher.
that's the last conflict character, and kind of a big deal right now.
kind of huge deal. This could be the end. The writing might be on the wall. But you know what? Bert does have those really cool mantras, which would be perfect right now.
Also, Bert has yet to play a hawk tattoo.
That is true. Although he's coming in on the Ring of Fire, he plays Mantra of Fire, adds a fate to the Swordsmith and draws a card. Is that card useful? I guess we'll
Probably
find
not.
out. I wish we could see their hands. There should be a spectator mode. All right. So, 5 skill on the box. It's a 6 strength province.
And Toridori passes.
Well, he's not breaking, so it's got to do
Not
something.
losing yet. Cowboy reserves.
Is he not?
we go.
Is he not losing now? I'm not sure.
He's definitely not a good position to be in. 13-0.
And Shono just hasn't triggered yet.
Yep.
Ooh, Cloud on Shono.
It's
That's-
13-0 still.
Yeah, yeah. I see your point. Thinking through his options. Spreading the darkness. It's going down fast. Spreading the
Makes
darkness
sense.
on who? Otaku infantry?
On the infantry so that it keeps a ton of strength.
Yeah.
Currently a 4-4, 8-4, I guess.
You guys called it Otaku infantry? MVP this game, huh?
I feel like he had it before the spreading the darkness. The 13-0, the
Yeah.
cavalry reserves was the bigger play.
It feels a little bit like a diss, like it's a
I'm
GG,
fairly certain
question
this
mark?
Glad the Mind was literally just a diss at
And
this
there's
point.
the hawk tattoo to bring in the Master Alchemist.
Okay.
Yep.
We might be back in it. Find katana up to 6.
Yep.
So that is his only fine katana because the other one was discarded.
Yep. He can get to 8 with the box, 10 with the alchemist ability, or he could take 2 down off his opponent. But I think considering it's got 2 fade on it, probably just boost up his alchemist.
Unfortunately,
he's-
unable to punch the infantry out of the combat.
Yes. That's
But if he punches something else out, he'll lose an extra strength.
So I think he is planning
And
on
the
that.
bonsai there to get up to 12. He's up. He's in safe range for now.
And Unfloss passes.
All right. Successfully defended the stronghold once again.
Yep, but he's just triggered his stronghold. He can go back in.
Yep. And now he has
His enemy
a.
encampment still being there.
Yep. He's got a military ring.
Yep, he can bring
He's
up that border rider and one other thing.
infantry.
Infantry would only be 2.
And it has to be a cavalry.
Ah, yep. That's probably the bigger deal there. So it'd be the other border rider, I guess.
I guess
And
so.
the other cavalry.
So how much is that on the
this?
table? So it's 3, 4,
1,
5,
2,
6.
5,
It could be it.
6. Yeah, exactly enough. I feel like if he had a strength, I suppose if he had a strength boost in hand, he probably could have thought this conflict is going to be safer.
Antonio in chat reckons that sacking Shoto was a mistake. I think he's probably right. Actually, he should have sacked the border rider.
This one at the end here, yeah.
Yeah.
So that you could get the additional strength boost.
Yeah.
He also could have put the honored token on the Shono instead of on this border rider for an extra 2 strength. Let's have a look. What's lines of play or even left? Oh, wait, this alchemist hasn't been used yet.
That's true. But I feel like he's only going to affect one skill no matter where he's played.
But when you're currently looking at exactly 6, isn't it?
Yes, exactly 6.
1, 2.
So what's in the
5.
bid?
No, 7. 7 with the favor.
Oh yeah, okay, with the favor. So what do we got? We've got no bonsais being used by Unfloss. Has he got any in his deck? No, he does not. So charge, no good charge targets. No fate for cav reserves. Force of the River. No fate for Force of the River. Seal of the Unicorn.
I think he's got nothing. Seal the Unicorn for +1 strength.
Yep.
But he's on 7, right? 7 against undefended. Toradori's got 2 fate. He could throw down a character.
Yeah.
Like a Tattooed Wanderer here will save him, I guess.
I'm going to guess that that Agasha Swordsmith sees 0 attachments.
No.
Oh no!
Dragon.
Seal of the Dragon. Brilliant. Is that the best attachment? I don't know.
The best conflict character to drop here would be the Ancient Master with its 2 glory.
Yes.
Oh, and then honor it with the Master Alchemist. Yep. That would work.
All right.
Although I think, if I remember correctly, Bert is only running 1.
Yeah, that's right.
He is only running 1.
Yep.
Hasn't used it yet.
Hawk Tattoo and 1 card to Void Fist. You know what? He just might hold this. I feel like Unfloss he's walking a tightrope. But you go for it, right? You've got 1 more conflict. I don't see why you don't go for it and get those cards out of your opponent's hand. What are the alternatives?
Yeah.
Toradori plays Seal the Dragon to Master Alchemist. Okay.
I think this is signaling he doesn't have Void Fist. If he had Void Fist, he would have held off on the Seal of the Dragon, so it would count as one of the cards.
Yeah.
Because
he might actually play something first, right? Even though he's not in the conflict, he plays a card, and then the second action is to Hawk Tattoo the Master Alchemist into the conflict, and then Void Fist or something like that.
I feel like you would still you would save it, right? There's no point letting your opponent know that you've got them until you absolutely have to.
Well,
and there's the game.
GG. Well played by both players. What do you guys think?
Oh, I think they did very well. The biggest turning point, I think, was that turn 1, losing 2 breaks to 1.
Yeah,
Turn 1.
yeah, especially
It's not really a spot you want to be.
Yeah, and having all of those wayfinders to kind of look at the provinces and know and plan out where you're going to hit, so you can mitigate the damage done by things like Feast and Resto. In fact, he didn't hit Feast at all, which is good. I think
Also,
this.
border riders and Shiatomi encampment doing so much work.
Oh, mate, straightening your guys. I play Phoenix. I know how important and how good straightening your guys is. It's the best. I think this Sacred Sanctuary really kind of does go on the box. I really feel like if you see that early, yeah, you can use it, and clearly he did use it. But then the unicorn just came in with a really tiny attack and just knocked it out. So don't like it. Don't like it down in the row. I do like it on the box.
I like it in the row in Bert's deck because he's got so many monks
Mm.
that he's seeing value with it almost straight away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. Time will tell, I think. All right. Well, thanks everyone for watching, and thanks to you guys for casting. We do have another game coming up, Australia versus Switzerland again. This time it's going to be who is the matchup this time? Just trying to find my Discord League groups. That's not it.
It's the other Australia match, right? So it would be NZ.
Yeah, so Phoenix versus Dragon. So I'm not sure when that one will come up, but we're going to mute the stream and just take a quick breather while those guys get set up. There's also another game going on a partner stream, which is Scorpion versus Scorpion Mirror. It will be L5R against Mark Armitage. And I'll post up the links to all the streams and things like that for everybody. So for the time being, see you in a bit.